Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Muskrat Adventures Chat with the Muskrat. I'm your host, Roger DeMent, and this week we are talking about Alabama. So, hopefully, you guys got to see a little bit of last week's show, and of course, the plethora of pictures and videos that Betty kept us all in the loop on, and then my recap post as well. But man, oh man, let me tell you, if you have not taken the trip or taken the time to go down to Alabama and fish Wheeler or Wilson, you are missing out, because those are, hang on, let me turn my phone down. Those are fantastic fisheries, and had a blast. So real quick, before I get started here, I want to say hello to everyone. Avid, looks like Avid was first one in the show tonight. Chad's here, Michael Murillo, Ace, Buckeye Catfishing. See, I lost track on my other one. Looks like D's in the house. Wicked Catfish in the house. Catfish Weekly, Lyle, thanks for stopping in. QC Saper. That's a new one. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you giving us a shot here. Let's see who else we got. James Dockery's in the house. Ace fishing with the Chad. Let's see. The crosses are in the house. You never can tell now which one it is. And that's probably for the better after last night's shenanigans. You don't know who you're talking to. That's just fine. Catfish Headhunter Norm's in the house. And let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. St. Louis Clam Snapper. Skip Stewart's in the house. Sean Abney. Zach Murray's in the house. One Ton Fishing Club. Palmetto Cats. Kevin, thanks for dropping in. Busted Budget Outdoors. Half Crazy. And Janice is here. Actually, she's there. She's in the living room. Wayne Winterstein, thanks for stopping in, brother. And boy, oh boy, I think I've caught up. Fin Seeker TV. Hey, man, fantastic job, man, out there fishing with Chris Souders and Harley Neal. I've been lucky enough to fish with both those guys, and I can tell you there's not a dull moment on that boat. So I shared your link out as much as I could. Hopefully you got picked up a couple subscribers, and maybe taught us all a thing or two. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. I got a crazy house here. Daughter's staying, and son-in-law staying for a while, and a couple dogs. So our house went from an empty nest to a full-blown smorgasbord. So, but anyway, I'll get back to what you guys want to hear about, what you guys want to talk about, and that's catfish. And man, oh man, did we have some catfish. First of all, being able to get out on the water with Doc Lange, and just, I think anybody who's ever met Doc Lange could call him a friend with confidence. That guy's just amazing. All around, just the knowledge he holds and the secrets. He don't have very many. He shared a few things with us that we'll keep under our hat for a while, because that's our word. But Doc really kind of opened up our eyes a little bit on some things. And so one of the things that I took away big time from this fishing trip was the size of bait that I use. We had plenty of skipjack there, which, I'm not used to. I'm not used to be able to just say, hey, I can just go get some more real quick. So that luxury isn't always available. So if you're like me, the skipjack run up here, in the spring and in the fall, and you catch what you can, and you stock up and you freeze up, and you do your best. And you try to get some more as you go to keep fresh. Typically, I switch over to gizzard shad come cold water. And I just seen Jimmy from Fishing and Gear pulled a 75-pound blue today on chicken breast. Man, oh man. That makes me feel good, man. We've been fishing. We've been using chicken. I haven't caught any monster fish with chicken. I believe Skip Stewart and Zach have confirmed that they believe the 46 that Skip caught, being his new PB, was caught on chicken. But 75-pound fish on chicken, that's pretty cool. But back to what I was saying, the size of bait that we use typically is very small compared. Doc Lange was using an entire skipjack. I mean, the whole thing. He cut off the tail and just let her bleed. And, at first we were like, that's really big bait. I mean, I know there's big fish in here, but come on. But let me tell you something a little bit that I learned. That bait, being whole skipjack, we may drag baits for an hour, 2 hours, and then reel up to go to a different spot. Sometimes it may take 3 hours to pull a drift to cover the water that we wanted to cover. And you pull that skipjack up after 2, 3, 4 hours and hang it so you can move on to your next spot, and it's still dripping blood. I mean, unreal. We couldn't believe it. We kept looking at each other and scratching our head like we've used this bait, all of our catfishing career, but have never used it an entire fish, just nicking the tail off so it could bleed. And we were just completely surprised at how much blood and scent that fish would hold if you kept it whole. Now, normally I chunk them up. 3 pieces, 4 pieces, depending on the size of skipjack. But we, on average, was using 11 to 12 inch skipjack, using them whole. And, and here's the thing. We didn't, I know, Doc did catch a monster catfish on one, 76 pounds. And Zach did too. But we actually hadn't seen that trick when Zach and I started fishing. I'll be honest with you. We rolled into Alabama. We kind of had an idea of where to start. It was dark our very first morning. We went out below the dam. We know that there's some wood piles that pile up behind the dam here at Wheeler. And so we went and searched, marked some brush piles, and circled back around, found one that looked good, anchored up. We weren't in the water 10 minutes. Zach put his first rod out, put a second rod out, and was reaching for his third, and the second rod was bent over with the 53-pound blue cat on it. And we thought, oh my God, why have we never done this before? This is amazing. And the whole week didn't go that way. Obviously, it's fishing, but we like I said, we picked up a lot. And the size of bait, I was hooking mine, half of them, I would hook it right through the nose and drag it, present it as naturally as possible. And some of my rigs, I would have a stinger hook. I would run in the back. But Doc's theory was, if he ain't big enough to take the whole thing, I don't even want him. I want the big boys. And so even with the whole skipjack, I mean, we caught small fish. Now, what would normally happen was they would nip at it. They would keep pecking at the back of the fish and still have a great size bait out in the water. But, eventually, or ideally, sooner or later, a big old fish would come along and snatch that bait up out from underneath that dank. And but like I said, when we've chunked them up and thrown them out, you leave them out there sit for about an hour. You bring them in, they're all washed out. The gut's gone, blood's pretty much gone. The heads, the small fish really like the heads. The pick at the heads pretty clean. But when you're throwing whole fish, they'll pick at it some, but the amount of scent and blood that it leaves behind is just unreal. It's not the only takeaway I got from Alabama, but I'll be honest, it was one of the biggest. One of the other things that was fantastic about the trip was our location. We were staying in Rogersville. That's pretty cool, huh? I won't forget that. We were staying in Rogersville, and that location, did I lose audio? I'll wait. It looks like Tim Molina says I lost audio, so I'll keep going. If I lost audio, I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything different. But our location basically was right where the dam is. We could see the dam from the house that was rented. Betty was able to book the house for us, and she did a fantastic job finding location, and it was right on the water. As you guys saw last week's show, we walked right out on our dock and set up, and we were on the water. If we wanted to, we could have launched our boat right there. It just turns out that for most of our fishing, we were launching out of different locations, and so we didn't actually end up launching there. But when the wind was bad on Wilson, we just put in on Wheeler, and vice versa. If the wind got bad on Wheeler, we would put in on Wilson. Now Wilson is the smaller of the two. If you're not familiar with it, Wilson from dam to dam is only 13 miles long. I found that very surprising considering the amount of fish that come out of Wilson. Now Wheeler also is very well known for its big fish, but it is also Zach, help me out here. I believe it's 70 some miles long. I think it's 76 miles long. That's a lot of water. So to catch big fish in 76 miles of water, it's good. But when you take consideration that Wilson's only 13 miles long and it's pulling out, yeah, thank you, Zach, 75 miles long. So you take consideration it's only 13 miles long and still catches big fish. There's a ton of structure in that lake. I really enjoyed it. I know that Doc said that he also prefers Wilson over Wheeler on most occasions. But man, it was a good time. It was a good time. Let me see if I can. I know that. See if I can make this happen here without losing y'all. Let's see. Copy the clipboard. Copied. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can get that out there or not the way I was trying to do it. I was going to have some of the folks that went with us, Zach or Skip or Betty and Brandon, if they wanted to pop in, but I don't think I can invite here without closing this screen. We had a good time, man. I'll tell you a story here. I got spooled twice. So first time I got spooled was, we was drifting and we was letting lines out the back. And so my normal routine was to open the bail, run about half of spool of line off the back and shut her down. I can tell you that I did not do that successfully. I opened the spool and it all went out. We only caught it at the very end when it bounced. The rod just bounced real hard. And I've learned a lesson because I typically will just tape. I'll put electrical tape on the spool when I start it out. It gives it something to grip, and I normally don't tie a knot. I just tape it on and let her go. And had I tied it, I probably could have saved all that line because it was freshly spooled with 50-pound slime line. Everything I went and had brand new line on it. And I lost it all. All right. So that was a bummer. All right. Well, I reeled in the next rod. And so I snagged the line. I brought in the line and I was super excited that I just got my line back. I thought I just lost everything. Problem was I had two ends of the line and I didn't know which end went to the rig. Then one end would be empty, obviously come off the reel. So I decided, well, what does it matter? If it's the rig, I'll just cut it off and spool it onto the rod and go that way. So I grabbed it. I pulled it in the rig. I cut the line. I ran it on back onto the pole with the empty spool and started cranking. And man, I was excited. I was watching that spool fill up. And then my line went from one rod all the way up to the other rod. I snagged my own line. All I did was take line off of one rod and put it on the other. The line that I lost, it's still out there in Wilson somewhere. But it was pretty funny when it happened. I beat myself up because I was like, man, what in the world? But, it is what it is. But we had fun. Save on fishing line. We had a good time. I laid a notebook down in here for things I was going to cover. But so when we made it down there, we all had big hopes and dreams of all landing PBs. Everybody wanted to catch the biggest fish. And for 3 out of the 4 of us, it happened. So like I said, Zach Murray made it down there. 10 minutes into our fishing trip, he hooked up with a 53 pounder. He caught over several other fish and some nice fish throughout the week, but none beat the 53 pounder. So he takes home a PB of 53 pounds. Followed up by then Brandon Cross had caught a 36.36 pound blue cat, making that his biggest blue cat ever. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Biggest blue cat ever. And then Betty Jean, she also catches her PB, being 27.5 pound blue cat. And just seeing Doc, and that's the thing, that wasn't Doc's PB, 76 pound blue cat, 85, I believe, is his PB. Just putting my hands on that fish and lifting it up. Now I know there's bigger fish. You guys have caught, 100 pounders and things like that, but I haven't. That was a monster fish to put your eyes on. It was kind of unreal. But man, it was a phenomenal trip. Across the sand, there's a lot of terminal tackle down in the lakes if anybody wants to go diving. And that's the thing, there is a lot of structure in that lake. But that also, gives the predator fish places to hide and grow. It also gives, the big fish places to hide and to grow. But yeah, the smile on Doc's face made that moment unforgettable. That's right. And we've got it captured, so we won't forget it, even if we try. But yeah, there were some times where, we kind of went to an area. And the funny thing is, most of that lake on Avionics will tell you it's flooded timber. This was a town that was flooded. There's still foundations throughout that lake that you could find. There's railroads that still exist. The hump for the railroad, maybe, we can't go down through there and see the railroad ties or anything like that. But you get an idea. I mean, it was a sunken town. So there's lots of debris. There's lots of structure all throughout that lake. And it will not hesitate to take all your crap with it, because it's tough. But, we use some different drifting weights, drifting sinkers. And I thought I had one laying here. But a friend of ours actually made a bunch of them up for us, Justin's Fishing Fetish. If you guys are familiar with that fella, he makes some great slinky weights. And I called him up and asked him if he could hook me up, getting ready to go to Alabama. So that's what he did. Got some great weights. I mean, they performed flawlessly. And so the idea behind those weights, in case you're wondering, like, well, what were they? It's just a regular slinky weight. It had, small 3 or 4 ounce weight in the bottom of each of these. And then the upper part was filled with foam. And then, of course, it attached at the top. And, that allowed the top of the weight to stand up and the bottom to drag through this stuff. And I'd say, honestly, I don't know that a sinker ever did get hung up. I know we hooked into some things and pulled up. I fought a big old tree for a while. I thought, man, what in the world? And I hooked into something and it was coming, and hell, it was a tree, a big tree. And the thing is, you can't let it go because all your baits are back behind the boat. If you let it go, you're going to snag everything you got. So the only thing we could think to do was attach it to the boat so that we could just release it once everything's free. And so that's what we did. We used some of the quick clamps. They're great to have. If you don't have them on your boat, they come in handy time and time again. You clip them on the boat, and you never know when you're going to use them. But we fastened this. It was actually 2 great big limbs, big old trees. We fastened to the side of the boat. That says we used it for camo. I can only imagine what it looked like to anyone else that could have gone by and seen us. Not to mention the heck of a fight I made it look like from a distance. For most of these trips, we were fishing in a triangle formation. Doc would typically be in the middle, and then Brandon and Betty would be off to one side, Zach and I would be off to another side, and we would sweep a large section of water at one time. And if one of us started picking up fish or started marking fish, we was communicating. Boats would swing around a little bit to try to get in line with the fish that we could mark and see. We could talk to each other and watch each other. It was a blast. It was a blast to do it that way. But yeah, I hooked into the giant, I'll call him stick jack. I hooked a giant stick jack, and I fought her with all my might until came out of the water. And then it was all over. But hang on here. I want to catch up a little bit. So man, that was fantastic fishing trip. During, if anybody was, I think a lot of you were here. Hey, JP3, LG Bass, Half Crazy. Thank you guys for stopping in. Anybody I missed, I apologize. I'll try to catch back up here. Jason Lamb, Tim Molina, Wicked Catfish, PD. What's up, brother? Glad you could join us. But if you was watching Chris Souter's live show just before this, somebody asked a question: do you ever miss your wife while you're fishing? And he said, I wish my wife would fish with me more. And Janice is always tried to fish pretty hard. She likes to get out there, and she likes to try to hang with the big dogs, and she does pretty well. And so most of you may have known or noticed that when we fished the couples tournament, yeah, right, Kevin. We fished the couples tournament. Janice, all the way up to the last day, the last minute almost, held the largest fish of the tournament with a 21.82 pound blue cat, which turned out to be her biggest catfish she's ever caught. And so, just touching a little bit on that tournament and just the way, women in the sport, I think, is like a whole category that could pretty much, we could do that all night. As a matter of fact, I was super happy when I saw that Mark had done a ladies' night and had, the women of catfishing, or not completely catfishing. Oh shoot, her name just slipped my mind. I just followed what she caught for her bass tournament. But the women being in the sport is good for all of us. And I could tell you, I know several women fishermen, and they don't want anything more than to be treated like a fisherman or fisherwoman. They don't want a whole lot of. They don't be treated any different. They want good or bad. They just want to catch fish. I know that the Betty Jean is one. I know that Dee seems to have a passion. I know that Paula Smith is probably one of the most passionate people, and the passion that these guys have, the ladies have, for wanting to get into the sport and wanting to fish is great for us. There should be no reason to discriminate, just because a female wants to do what we're doing. Embrace it. It's awesome. My wife, she likes to fish. She likes to get out there. She doesn't do as well as, if I take one of my buddies who's been doing it forever, and I don't expect her to. I think at times I might get frustrated because she's not as good as some of my friends, or good as what I think I am sometimes. But you got to have patience, take the time to get out there. And so for Dee and Chad to put that tournament on, and couples deal, man, I thought it was cool. We was proud to be a part of it. I guarantee it's going to happen next year, and we'll be right back in it, trying again. Outside the haze, some of these women are better than us men. That's a fact. Whether we like it or not, most women are better at multitasking than what we are. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the way these women want to be treated fairly and equally in the sport. And I think it's all of our responsibility to do just that, to let them have the way, and let them have the light that they deserve, not because they're women, but because they can fish. That's all anybody wants. I wouldn't want to be treated any different just because I'm funny looking. Yeah, or maybe I am. I think maybe I am discriminated against. But no, I'm getting off the trail there. But these women know how to fish. They should be treated as equal fishermen and fishing women as best we can. I know that there was some. I won't go into it because I don't know the details. I know that there's some stuff that went on recently that was pretty disturbing to hear about, and thinking that people can get away with acting like a fool, in this community. I'll be first to say that this catfish community is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. I've seen, hardships fall on people, throughout my time on YouTube, and I've seen this community rise up and rally behind people. And whether it's just through support by, being an ear to listen, or whether that's being, a monetary, subject to help somebody along. But the support that we seem to show each other throughout this channel, or throughout this community, I'm sorry, is it's just fantastic. And I won't, I'm not going to try to be a cheerleader or, you guys all know what I'm saying here. But I was getting off the beaten path. But I'm trying to. That's right, Zach. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Those of you that haven't watched, or I'm sure many of you have watched, Richard Gene, the Fishing Machine, and I'm talking about woo. I mean, woo. Zach and I had fun with that all week long. Man, I really do appreciate you guys, and sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Zach, Betty, and Brandon, 4 people. Be honest, we don't know each other that well. You stuck us in a real small house, beautiful, perfect for fishing. Stuck us in a small house, 5 days, and man, it was no drama. This is the way we like it. We all had the common goal. That's just catch fish and have fun. And when everybody has something in common that strong, it just works. So thank you guys so much for making that trip awesome for me. But I seen a question there. I was trying to catch it, but it went so fast I didn't get it. Something about putting several rods out or planer boards out. I don't know if that was directed towards us. I know that I do run quite a few. I do run quite a few rods. I'm not that good, apparently. So I try to put up. Hey, Shanti, I try to put as many rods out as I can to try to even the odds a little bit. Let's see here. I thought I saw something, but I try to put as many rods out as I can. It is at times some hard work. Sometimes you can't get them out without snagging them. I get questioned all the time. How in the world do you do that without tangling everything up? Well, I do tangle things up sometimes. The trick to it is, when you're sending lines out the back, whether you're anchoring or whether you're dragging, we always stagger the lines. So I'll send one long, and then I'll keep one short, and I'll keep one long, and I'll keep one short. And when it comes to, anchoring and casting out in a fan position, I will typically put the lighter sinkers. I usually use 8 and 10 ounce sinkers on the river. It really doesn't seem to matter the current. I just want it to stay there. I'm using a sinker slide. So if that fish picks up the bait and starts to move with it, you're going to feel it on the rod before hopefully he feels that 10 ounces of weight move. But I start out, I'll put 10 ounces on the outside, maybe the outside rod and the next rods, and then I'll go to 8s and so forth, and take it down a notch. We also use planer boards, even with the anchoring position. We'll use, I'll use planer boards for anchor position to keep them lines spread out so that they don't all gather right behind the boat, especially in whenever you got decent current. So don't be afraid to do that. Even when you cast out there, you can clip that board on, and it'll take your bait over to the side and keep it out there, and keep your line out there anyway, so that you don't have a hot mess at the back of the boat. If you guys remember watching, if you guys saw my, I called it the PB times 3, that video when Herb caught all 3 of those 40 pounders at the same time. I think we had every rod, every line in the boat was in the boat by the time it was done. I was talking about 11 rods. When striper fishing, can't run that many boards, floats. Catfishing, 11 rods, we can do it. Catfishing, we've done it. Roger, what's the fastest current speed you would drag in before switching to bumpering, anchoring? How fast is too fast, I guess? It all depends if you're going with the current or against the current. Me, I like about a mile an hour, but you can go clean up. You can go up to as many as you want. The problem is you have to use a lot of weight. So, for instance, if you're dragging against 3 mile an hour current, it's going to take, you got to think it's going to take probably 10 ounces to 12 ounces just to keep it down there. Now, if you start moving forward, you're going to start getting even worse than that. You may be looking at 16 to 20 ounces, and that's just not feasible really to drag. I like the slower. I like the slower water between a mile and a half. I don't think I have tried dragging at 2 miles an hour. Now, my speed on if I'm in a lake or something like that, I'll go up to a mile and a half at times. I'll experiment with my speeds to see what seems to trigger the fish. Now, a tip that Doc gave us when it comes to speed and dragging was, we were all dragging right behind each other, and Doc, we had picked up a couple small fish. I'm talking 5-10 pounders, and Doc's up ahead of us. And we're like, man, what's he got? And we called him. He's like, hey, you doing okay up there? You're getting awfully far away. He said, yeah, the dinks were pestering the heck out of me. He said, I sped up to get away from them. And so what he did is he sped his boat up in hopes of, kind of deterring the small fish from coming and just pecking at the bait all the time. He sped up. We was all running about 0.5 to 0.6. And here he was over a mile an hour, just cruising down through there. And he had picked up a 38, a 28, a 25, a 20 something, an 18. And we're back there with 5-pound fish. And we're like, holy crap, we need to speed up. And I'd never put that correlation together that, if you're getting dink tapped to death, while dragging, try speeding up and see if you can't shake those little guys and pick up the bigger fish. It worked for Doc. I ain't questioning it. Doc. 38 pounder slammed that rod. Yeah, it didn't seem to matter where we were. If Doc was close, he was catching fish. And we were right behind him. We were right next to him. We were right beside him. The guy knows what he's doing. He's no joke, that's for sure. And the fact that he shares most of his information with us is just unreal. Kind of like Chris Souders, just coming off the air. He'll share just about every trick in the book with you. And it's important for us to share. I try to do my part. I ain't the best guy out there. I'm not a tournament angler. I'm just a regular dude that started fishing a few years back, and I put some things together. Skip, I'll get back to that in a second. I started putting some things together, and they worked. I've caught a lot of fish, but I also put a lot of time on the water. And if you talk to anybody about how to catch more and bigger fish, it's fish more time on the water. And, it's an odds game. And the more you put the odds in your favor, whether that means more rods or more time in the water, then you catch more fish. Skip asked a question. What would be the biggest thing I learned in Alabama besides the big bait? really the big bait thing was a huge deal. Um, but reading your navionics and being able to um, pinpoint ledges. I'll be honest with you, pretty much everything we did had something to do with the ledge. Um, we picked apart that lake, and we were running ledges almost all the time. And I know that we talk about ledges and we hear about ledges, and I fish ledges as well. But I spend a lot of time, looking at other things, um, deep holes, shallow flats, current seams, breaks, things like that, all throughout the water structure. Um, but when it comes down to it, they use these ledges. Um, they use these ledges as travel corridors. I mean, they're moving up and down them all the time. And so whether you're anchoring or drifting or dragging, you put your bait where the fish are going to be. Now, we did go across flats to see if, hey, is there any fish up here actively feeding that we could target and pick up? And we also went half crazy. I'm not sure, what you're sorry about, but all is good. All is good. So for me, paying more attention to those ledges and having to, be able to go back through and target those throughout the day, throughout each of the days we fished was really good. And yeah, the bait thing, that's just going to stick. That's why I shared it. I was kind of dumbfounded why I fished all this time and didn't realize that the bait would bleed like that for so long. It was really, give it a try. I'm telling you, give it a try. Now, I don't know if shad will produce the blood that way. I'd normally, on the small fish, that's what I do anyway. I would just cut the tail off and let it bleed out as long as I could. But those big jumbo shad, I normally chunk them all up. They're big, and I want, big chunks of bait. Well, I think next time I score some 10, 12-inch shad, I'm sending them out whole. And were all your big fish caught on ledges, dragging? Yes. Actually, I'm sorry. There was an area where Doc caught that 76. It was a ledge, but it kind of had a bunch of things going together at once. It was a shallow flat that ran into a ledge that had stumps structure on it. So it was like a trifecta of beautiful things happening all at once right there. And Doc came over it. He said he marked a big fish on the backside of a stump, and he marked two other big fish off to the side. And he said when he saw it, he was just praying, please be my fish. And then when his rod went down, he said he had to hold himself back from jumping so fast. But it was a whole bunch of things that went together that made that happen. The thing I learned is going on a fishing trip with a bunch of guys isn't bad at all if they're the right guys. They taught me things just like I was one of the guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Absolutely no problem. Betty did a fantastic job. She knows her stuff. I fished with Betty. I think we were just out bait fishing. And when somebody knows their stuff, you could tell. When somebody's blowing smoke, you could tell. And, she knew a lot about that lake. She knew more about that lake than I knew in certain areas. There was areas of the lake we fish at Paint Creek that I've never fished or seen before. And she knew all about it. And she sounded like a pro. She could tell you where the ledges were. She could tell you how the crappie moved. She could tell you how the bait moves, different times of the year. I mean, she knows her stuff. So yeah, we don't treat her any different. Which might be a bad thing, but we share information and we talk to her just like I'm talking to you all right now. She's passionate. She wants to learn how to catch big fish, and same with Brandon. Betty and Brandon come from trolling and dragging lakes around here, catching big channel cat. Hey, there's Doc Lange now. What's up, buddy? Thank you for joining. Your ears must have been burning. We've been talking about Alabama. but she came. Those guys came from dragging lakes and catching. Well, we've seen multiple channel cats and things like that. And they got a new boat this year, and they wanted to widen their horizon and go after bigger and better fish. And so they've been going to the river and trying out their luck. And then they booked this trip to Alabama. And I think that, just a week in Alabama and, the things we learned from Doc and the experiences we learned, goes leaps and bounds years ahead of what it takes most of us to learn on our own. And, but that's what it takes. It takes the passion that those two have to want to catch good fish. We have saved blood, soaked in bait. I don't know what that says. Good to know. Yeah, Doc. We were sharing some stuff. We didn't share the stuff we're not supposed to share, so I keep that under my hat. I run with my bald spot, thanks to Betty putting that out there. But we just had a terrific time. We were talking about a lot about the bait that we were using, using that big bait, that using a whole skipjack and how long that stuff would bleed and continue to be great bait, as opposed to chunking things up and letting it wash out within, an hour, half hour, depending on the water temperature, obviously. But, it was a big takeaway. Lots of big takeaways. I got put on the spot here. What's the biggest thing I learned? And man, I just have to make a list. There's a new one. Jeff Barker, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. Squirrel, I don't know if I said hello. I know I caught a question for you, but he wants those secrets. No, there's some things that you got to keep under your hat, especially when you still do tournaments. And I believe Doc's got a tournament coming up this weekend, and so there's some old tricks you gotta keep to yourself to make sure that you got an edge. If you don't have an edge, at least you think you have an edge. And the psychological part of fishing, the confidence is half the battle. Once you build the confidence that, hey, I can do this, or I think this is going to work, then things start to fall in place. When you second guess yourself and you start doubting everything that you're doing, it just doesn't get the attention, or it gets doesn't get the attention or the time that it may deserve, because at the time you wasn't convinced that it was a working. Oh shoot, I'm trying to do something here. You weren't convinced it was going to work to begin with. So, instead of giving it 20 or 30 minutes to work, you may only give it 10 to 15 minutes to work. And sometimes that last 5 minutes is all it takes to become, to prove the method or prove the idea that you have is worthwhile. For instance, chicken. All right. We're using chicken. Oh, has chicken ever been used? Yeah. Have we all thought about using chicken and heard about people using chicken? Yeah. But none of us, most of us didn't have the confidence to go out and use one of our rods baited up with chicken when we have other bait available. And so we just didn't do it for the most part. And then guys like Kevin and Dieter Melhorn and, some of us others got out there and we started catching fish with chicken, and now pretty confident with chicken. I take chicken with me. It's not my favorite bait, but it works. And, it might be the deal breaker some days. I know for a fact that Zach Murray, he's lucky enough. He lives right by the dam at Greenup. He lives right there by the water. He lives right there by the water, and he gets to fish a lot. And because he gets to fish a lot, he can gamble. He can take chances and do things because he's going to be back out there within the next day or two. Where some of us, or some other folks, I'm pretty lucky too. I can fish when I want. But he's been trying chicken. He takes it with him. He sees when it's going to work and when it ain't going to work. And on some days, chicken will outproduce the rest of the baits, big time. And then there's other days, for no other reason, the chicken just won't produce. And so it's a good easy bait to have. In my opinion, it's always worth at least having on the boat. And when things don't seem to be working, maybe try it, or maybe try it anyway, just to see if that's what they prefer. Why fish like chicken? Beyond me. I think Zach has the only logical explanation that I've heard that's worth a hoot, and that is that maybe the meat of the chicken, resembles the meat of mussels. All right, so we know that they're down there eating zebra mussels and a varieties of mussel, and maybe that meat to them resembles the meat of the mussels. No rhyme or reason to that, just a theory. But so far, it's the only theory that I've heard that makes any sense. So for right now, it sounds good. Oh, we're talking about time, how long it takes to get down there. Chicken outfish shad 6-1, biggest 24 pounds. Yeah, thank you, Wicked Catfish. They're, and the only reason I really went into that, that spiel of the chicken is it's just about confidence. Now that folks are catching fish with chicken and we're proving it over and over again, other folks are trying chicken. And, it started with somebody that had the confidence to leave it out there long enough to try it. And so when you have an idea or a different technique, give it a chance and try it, and just see how, if it produces and it don't. And just because it doesn't, don't give up. You may have to try it 2 or 3 different times. Just like we said, the chicken, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. I think Dave Funk was on his, I think it was on his page. He fishes Hoover Reservoir a lot, and he does very well. And I keep telling him to try chicken, and he don't want to try it. Matter of fact, I caught a decent flathead dragging on Hoover just a couple weeks ago, and he did really well this last weekend with the blue cats up there. And he said that he used cut bluegill, and he ate the chicken himself. So. Catfish Headhunters has a great new video on chicken. I saw that. I didn't get to watch the video yet. I'll be honest, I've been kind of spread thin, running back and forth. My daughter and son-in-law is working on a new house, and so I've been trying to put my time in up there to help them guys out. And of course, I was in Alabama, so I did get kind of behind on videos, and I do got to catch up. And I got some videos I need to make. I just realized it's been 2 months since I put out a video. I know I do these live streams on Tuesday night, but you guys want to see fish, and I gotta prove I can still catch fish. Inject the chicken with oil. Jeff Barker, what kind of oil would you recommend? What kind is that something you've tried, or is it it's just a theory? Because oils obviously are going to be a longer lasting scent. I know that I believe it's Norm that uses the anise. You guys are gonna make fun of me, but I don't remember how it's called. Ace says I'm 58 and have used chicken since I was 8 years old. So 50 years. Ace, how come it took you 50 years to convince everyone else to use chicken? What's the matter with you? But so different type of year, chicken is killer. Other times of the year they want shad and skipjack. And that kind of goes in line a little bit with what I'm seeing out of Zach, plain old season oil I've used. I didn't say anise or anise. I don't know what it is. Somebody has to put it back up there for me again. I cover my chicken in strawberry jello. We've had 20 fish days on it. Yeah. The strawberry jello is actually, I have not tried. I think I've used like cherry Kool-Aid. Because of Palmetto, I use the lemonade Kool-Aid, and it works. It did work. Rex. Sweet anus. I knew that was coming. I was ready for it. Uh, but anyway, I got off track there. But yeah, I've tried I tried some different anise. Is that right, Lyle? See, Lyle's there for me. Somebody's got to help keep me in line here. I don't know I don't know how I keep putting. That's just, I don't know. Last one I ate on my show, 7 fish were caught on chicken, 1 on a shiner. One were caught on a shiner. Yeah, that went to show. That's pretty bad. All adults in here, the word anus just tore us up. I mean, not tear up. Oh, it's crap. Family friendly. Thank you for that, Mark. If you guys haven't seen, Mark has got some new stuff coming out. I haven't been able to catch the live hangouts. I think I'm just old and I end up falling asleep and going to bed too early because I catch them the next morning. I'm like, man, I could have been in it. That would have been fun. And I have heard a lot of great comments coming from that big live feed the other night. Stop while I can. Yeah, I'm just going to try to skip over that, keep going. But no, those Mark's got the Mark. I don't remember the title of it. I shared it out, but I don't remember what you titled it. And it's just a hangout. To just sit around and talk. A lot of us don't sleep well at night, and we're up late. And we could just share information, share knowledge, or just BS around with like-minded people. So it's fun. Stan Smith said he had a lot of fun, but we didn't talk about anus. Well, you got to leave that for Tuesday nights. We'll be geared up. Thank you, Mark. Geared up. That's right. Folks talking about, getting ready for the winter. Now, Mark, I've got to tell you, where you're at, a lot colder than where I'm at. Now, I know we're not that far apart, but I don't stop fishing in the winter. So I don't have to, get things ready for spring or start. I actually do that. I try to do most of that in the summer. When the spawn hits is my downtime. Now this year I screwed up and did a boat rebuild starting in April. So I missed, all the good spring bite into the summer. I'm up and running now, but I missed a lot just taking that boat down. So geared up. PD fishing. Hey, thank you guys for sharing the links in here tonight. I'm not sure if everybody that we saw was in the chat, but that's a-okay. I do the same thing. Just because, sometimes somebody don't make it in the chat, we still want to support each other and share the love. I don't share as many links as Dee and Chad and Mark do. They're usually on top of it. But I do have a few that, that are kind of special to me that I try to throw out there. And so I love that you guys are sharing the links. I love the support that we're showing for all these other channels. We all like to see, ourselves grow. When you're not sure, when you're putting out content and you're not sure if, you're doing the right thing or if it's interesting anymore, when you start seeing subscribers or start seeing good comments, I'm lucky. I do get some good comments on some of my videos, and those are the ones that help you get out there and drive to do better and do more. So we drive through the ice, Mark. Yeah, we did, Skip. We took ice. I'm sorry. We took salt. We took shovels. We took everything with us during the winter because. Hey, Rusty, thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate it. That's okay, buddy. We never know when this show is going to stop. But we take shovels and salt with us, sand, whatever it takes, because there's times, it might not be getting into the ramp that's going to get you. There might be people pulling their boats out and the dock the ramp freezes. So as things start to freeze and cool down, maybe something to keep in mind. Right now is probably one of the most dangerous times because you don't really expect it just yet. But a ramp could ice over pretty quick under the right conditions. And, you could lose your truck, boat. You could fall. I know that I've heard stories of guys falling on the dock. I know people that's fallen on their hitch and, cause some serious damage. So try to think ahead a little bit, make sure that we're being safe because you can't get out there and do it again. That it might be your last trip, and we don't want our last trip. Time to down some. Okay. If I take a shovel with me, it's because I lost a paddle. Yeah, that's a great backup there, Squirrel. But yeah, we stay at it throughout the winter. But that show, Geared Up, sounds fun. If you guys haven't already subscribed to Catfish and Crappie, fantastic guy Mark is, very intelligent. I'm happy to call him a friend, and I'm looking forward to catching some of these chats in here. Hope no one does my heart attack. Yeah. Jim Catman Clark, man, that's I don't want anyone to do that. Hitting the shin on the hitch is the best everyone should do. Yeah, I've done enough of that. I don't have to be fishing. If you're the first or only boater, back down one side of the ramp and use the other side to pull out. I'm usually the only dummy fishing in 15-degree weather, though. Rusty, that is a fantastic bit of advice. So we, like I said, we try to take salt and different things, sand. But if, like you said, if you're the only boater out, and a lot of times we are, there's a handful of us that are hardcore that will fish no matter what the temperature, no matter what the situation is. We'll get out there and go for it. So using one side to put yourself in and leave the other side dry is a great tip, Rusty. I appreciate that. I'm gonna put that in the old log. So we always have bassers. Yeah, Kevin, they're about done around here. I love wintertime fishing, man. I know I've said it 1,000 times already, and you guys probably sick of hearing it, but last winter was my first winter fishing, and I absolutely love it. If I can get my boat in and it'll run right. The only issue I have sometimes is it gets too cold. My steering wants to freeze up on me. I need to replace my cables and whatnot. But if I can get out there and get on the water, I want to be out there. I caught more and bigger fish all winter than I have the rest of the year. They fish year round down here. Yeah, I kind of figured that, with the weather you guys have down there, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, being able to get out there and get out there when nobody's around is awesome. No bass fishermen on the Mississippi River where I fish a whole lot of current. Yeah, Rusty, man, I got to get out there and fish with you guys. We've talked about it, and just need to make it happen. I miss you, and you miss your dad, and old JR, man. After everything he's been through, man, I'd like to just put my arms around him and give him a big old hug. That's cold when your steering freezes. Yeah, use about 20 degrees. 20 degrees, it usually gets pretty stiff. I try to let it get anti-seize on them cables. The cables are sealed, Lyle. I don't know how to get into them, but if I could find a way to get in there and oil them up or put the anti-seize on them or pour something to them that'll allow them to go, then I'd love to. You got to set aside a little time this winter to teach us newbies winter river ways. Please and thank you. Absolutely, anytime. Guys, if you live around here, you know that within reason, I can meet just about anybody and go out fishing. My boat, your boat, doesn't matter. I love fishing with new people. I learn stuff. I love teaching, sharing what I know. Like I said, I'm not a seasoned veteran like a lot of these guys. trial and error, and I watch a lot of YouTube. And I'm lucky enough, I got some good friends in the community that have taught me quite a bit, and I love to share it. If we don't share this stuff out and make more people passionate about catfishing, and more people concerned about the conservation of the sport, there won't be a sport. And that's just sad to think about if you sit down and scratch your head that if nobody does anything. So in my eyes, the little bit of knowledge and tips or whatever I can share with people to maybe help one step closer to fulfilling, a big fish, or setting somebody in their ways to want to become a good catfisherman. That's one step closer we have to saving the species and making sure we have trophy catfish to chase out there. Roger, please do a show about winter weather gear and post links in your description. I've never fished in winter. I'm a weenie for the cold. Kevin, that's a good idea. We've got some stuff we do that's a little bit different. I don't have a full enclosure. I don't have anything fancy. So there's some ways around that. Good thing to remember is to keep your engine warm so the water don't freeze. Oh, I lost it. Hang on a second. So your water don't freeze in it, and it will still pee and run now and then if you anchor in one spot for a time. Yeah, another good one there for Rusty. Let me see if I missed anything. Yeah, keeping things moving, keeping things warm, and keeping things going throughout your trip will save you a whole lot of time and trouble, and possibly save you a big mechanic bill if you tear things up. One of the things that I see sometimes is guys will pull their boat out of the water in the cold months, and it don't have to be frigid weather, but in the cold months, water freezes, water expands, water breaks things. And so when you pull your boat up out of the water and you tilt it all the way up, you trim it up to clear the ramp and whatnot. If you don't let that motor come all the way back down and empty if you don't let the motor come down and empty the water out, that water can sit in there. And I've blown a lower unit because of water sitting in there and froze and cracked my lower unit. So something to keep in the back of your mind. Best thing you could do is spend the money on 200 mile an hour heavy rain gear Palmetto. Yeah, that's the 200 mile an hour gear. I believe is the insulated version. What I wear is the Cabela's Guidewear Extreme Series. It is windproof, waterproof, and has some insulation to it, and it really seems to do the trick. I don't have to wear big bulky clothes most of the winter because what I wear is good. And I also recommend that if you can afford it, the electric heater jackets. So the electric jackets, even just a blazer or vest, something that will keep your kidneys warm. Your blood goes through your kidneys, and if you can keep your kidneys warm and keep your back warm, it'll help keep the rest of your body warm. So with that gear there and the technology of having a heater or having a heated jacket, allows you to wear less clothing, less bulky, and in reality, it's actually safer because once you get real bulky and you restrict your movements, things start to slow down a little bit for you, and being able to move freely and do what you want to do is makes it a safer trip. Yeah, Betty just said there, invest in great gear. Do they have big boy heavy rain gear? Yeah, Kevin, I'm not sure about sizes per se on the Bass Pro stuff. I know on the Cabela's Guidewear stuff, they got a lot of sizes to choose from. The best thing to do is just go on there and start shopping around and take a look. And then if you want for comparison, if you want to hit me up on a message, and I can kind of tell you what sizes I wear and what size I bought, because that's the problem. You might see something online and it might say 2X, and then I get it here because I wear 2X. I get it here and it's 4X. And I'm like, holy crap! Or most likely it's the other way. It's not big enough, and I'm like, man, I should have got something. I should have got something different. Yeah, it is expensive. And that's a downside about it. The Fraybill ice fishing bibs and jackets, that's actually what Doc uses as well. And I thought that stuff was really nice when I saw it. But you got to invest in yourself and your safety. I know it's hard to do. It was very hard for me to bite the bullet and buy that gear because it was expensive. But for what I like to do, and I want to be able to keep doing it, I could either fight and struggle with my gear and go home cold, go home early, or worse, frostbite or something crazy. I just decided to invest the gear in myself. And Cabela's Guidewear makes a heated jacket. No, Squirrel. No, Cabela's Guidewear, I don't believe makes a heated jacket. The heated jackets, I was talking in general. There's lots of name brands out there. I know Milwaukee has them, DeWalt has them, but there's also a bunch of knockoff names out there that actually turn out to be pretty good if you do your research. I don't own one yet. I've not invested in that. Last year, my investment was the rain gear and stuff to keep myself dry and to keep myself warm. This year, I'd like to go with an electric or a heated jacket. This should be year round. Oh, Rusty, I missed you. Rusty's got a bunch of stuff, guys. Rusty's been around for a long time. He's not in our chats or in the YouTube scene a lot. He is a very busy guy, but a ton of knowledge, very smart fella, and very good fisherman. So this should be year round, but especially during the winter, let someone know where you're going and when you should be back. If the signal because the signal isn't good everywhere, better to find you fast and get help if needed. Man, that's one we need to write down and keep. In my situation, I don't fish alone anymore. So I don't really have to think about that too much, but I know a lot of you do. I know a lot of you still fish alone. And just letting somebody know where you're at. Let somebody know where you're at that knows what you're talking about. I could tell somebody, hey, I'm going up to Grandpa's to go deer hunting. There's only one guy that knows exactly where I'm going. And so that's the guy I'm going to contact and say, hey, that's where I'm going to be tonight or in the morning or whatever the case may be. And the same thing goes fishing. If you need to put it out there where somebody knows where that is, or would be your first contact, which should you run into trouble. If you know somebody on the river, somebody on that lake, or close by that would be your contact if something happened. Get a hold of them. There's all kinds of good stuff coming in now. Heat is released through your scalp and your feet. Focus a lot on that. Keeps them warm. Very good information there. Leave it to the nurse to keep it scientific for us. But she's absolutely right. Your head and your feet, once you lose enough heat through your head and feet, it's very hard to recover. I tend to go pretty heavy on the feet because I'm a sissy. Once my feet get cold, I have a hard time heating back up, and I just get grumpy. I don't quit. I just get grumpy. I have the guides here in Gander Mountain, shower curtain closures, and buddy heater. Rusty, your shower curtain closure. I have told I don't know how many people about that now since you showed that, and I think that's super smart. Again, really cool that that you did that. So if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, Rusty, wanted to make an enclosure on his boat. He had a bimini top just like the most of us do. However, he wanted to kind of close in the sides in the front during the rain or cold weather, and he used shower curtains. They're clear, so you can actually still see things coming. I use a big old tarp, and it's dangerous, really, because if a big log's floating down toward me, I don't see it. If a big barge is coming towards me, I don't see it. I'm constantly having to look out and look around to make sure I have a clear view of sight of anything coming down the river to me. The shower curtain idea was like, duh. And it's crazy that we ain't thought about it before, but Rusty had put it on his boat, and I thought that's the ticket right there. So if you're thinking about a cheap idea on how to enclose the fronts or sides of your boat, shower curtain. Brought to you by Rusty Moorfield. not cheap. I want the striker gear. I fished blues on Wheeler during a bad, cold, rainy year without good gear, and I bit the bullet fast after that. Yeah. Kentucky Big Catfish and Bourbon. Hey, that's a new one for me. Thank you for stopping in. Thanks for joining. Thank you for being active in chat. That's a great idea. That's great news right there. You know, you don't want to spend the money, but at the end of the day, you put yourself out there a couple times in bad weather. You wish you hadn't. Man, these are all great ideas. Keep the feet warm. Rest will be good. Hand warmers and hand packs, slid them down in your boots. I wear a dress. JP3. I wear dress socks and wool socks and my muck boots, and I'm all good. Skip says shower curtain. Great idea. We've talked about that one before, and built one for Dad as well. Hey, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. So I'm trying to keep up here. Here's a tip from the nurse. Hand and feet warmers go on clearance in the spring. I've gotten them for a nickel a pack. Store them in a dry place. That is absolutely right. I stocked up on a bunch. I actually stocked up on so many the year before that I didn't realize they expired. And so I didn't buy any. And now I have all these expired ones. And they don't work very good once they're expired. You think what could go wrong? Yeah, they don't work very well. Striker gear isn't as expensive. Yeah. Shop around. My choice for the Cabela's Guideware, I went off some feedback that I had found, and I went to people that have actually used the gear and asked them what they thought, if they would buy it again. And, so Lyle is all about comfort. I am too. If I could afford it, I'd have a full enclosure. I'd have that thing set up slick. Great show, new to YouTube, but fishing for a long time. 54 in March, met Doc for the first time about 15 years ago. Well, that's awesome, man. The YouTube community, if you were in here earlier, got to hear that little spiel about that. I won't do it again, but we have a great group of people that kind of follows us around, and it's average about 40 to 50 people through these chat rooms that kind of stick together. But we're always looking for more. So thank you for being here, and you're welcome to join along as much as you. Or you're welcome to join as many times as you want. I made a shower curtain closure with telescoping rods and shower curtains. It's awesome for changing clothes, bathroom privacy, even great from the bank. Stan, that's a pretty cool idea. I don't think a dress is warm enough for me in the winter, but I'll try anything once. JP3. Yep, I kind of made that. I kind of read that. I should have read it before I said it. But you never know. If you guys have met JP3, he's a character. I mean, he'd probably do whatever it took to catch fish. Just check my warmers. Expire 6/23. Yeah. Like I said, I bought these a while back. Like Betty said, stocked up on them, and they were like for nothing. As you guys know, that I love my clearance, and I'll go through there and I'll scan up everything I can and make deals happen. And I did. I bought like boxes of them, and yeah. Another tip: Pam spray for freezing line. It's kept me fishing for many more hours. That's a good one. That's a good one there too. I have had freezing line before. I've never used the Pam. I've heard of it, but I've never used the Pam. $20 is $20. That's right. I wear sweats, jeans, shirts, hoodies, and flip-flops. What's the matter with you, Chad? Right there, KY Laker at 78. Small stove to make a hot meal will buy you another hour or two in the water when you're cold and ready to give up. What about WD-40? I've never used that. I've never used the WD-40 for the lines either. But back to that comment about the stove. Most of you know, or if you've been on the boat with me, I've cooked for you. I keep a small grill on the boat, and you know, it's just a little fart that you can throw, you know, a couple hot dogs on, maybe even a couple hamburgers if you want to. But even when it's not chilly, even when it's just barely chilly, a hot meal, a hot anything on a cool day or a cold day, man, it can really re-energize you and you know, kind of clear your mind when you're just cold and miserable. You know, and you get something hot in your belly. Um, Roger, a hungry man needs to eat. That's right. You know, I eat more than I should, but uh, yeah, the stove on the boat really does help a lot. I think I sold Zach on it this week. We went down to Alabama and I busted out the grill and we was having, you know, hot dogs and well, I make like little smokies and things like that. You know, cheddar betters on the grill, hot bologna sandwiches, hot ham and cheese. Boy, I'm getting hungry now. I didn't get to eat all my supper. It came in late. I had to scarf it down real quick before we got going. My daughter made some chicken Alfredo for me tonight. I cook my meals on a buddy heater in the ice shake. I will tell you now that if Rusty is still in here, the craziest thing I've ever seen cooked on a buddy heater was Rusty. He hooked up, I think it was a couple hooks. He hooked one hook one way and one hook the other way and set them on the buddy heater and put a hot dog on it and cooked the hot dog on the buddy heater with a couple hooks and quick clips. There he is. Yeah, he said it right there. He made a special rig, and he did. It was the neatest thing. I thought it was funny. Yeah, squirrel there. You know, a pot of coffee. You know, or just something warm to pick you back up. You'd be amazed at the effects it has with you on the water. You know, not that many of us need, you know, push or rejuvenize to continue to stay on the water, but it just makes it so much easier. And you get a burst of energy. You know, it's like starting all over for the day. She already borrowed my truck this week. Matter of fact, she had it the whole time I was in Alabama. Well, she had access to it. I don't think she used it the whole time, but the whole time I was in Alabama, I left her my truck. So I think she owed me a good fettuccine Alfredo meal. I think it was just fine. Also, a 5-gallon paint screen works awesome on a buddy heater. I'm trying to imagine that with the buddy heater standing up. But no problem, Mark. I really enjoyed the channel and the projects involved. My go-to is still a thermos of hot soup. Warms you up quick. Yeah, hot soup will do it. I don't think I ever have taken hot soup with me, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. Body warmers around your vitals, I hear it helps, kidneys and such. Chad, I said that earlier. You weren't paying attention. I'm just giving you a hard time. I missed it. Buddy heater dogs. That's right. 12-volt thermos that works good. I think I've seen one of those yet. But yeah, I've had several different types of grills on the boat. If I could make a recommendation, I would say to go with a griddle style grill or stove on the boat, whether it be a Blackstone type or whatever. I picked up a small Coleman. I got on clearance. It was $100 grill. I got it for $20, or 25, I believe. And it has a flat griddle on one side and kind of a grooved griddle on the other. But it has ridges around the side where, you know, grease and drippings can't actually get to the open flame. Makes it much safer for your boat. And obviously, if you want to have the flame away from your gas tank and anything flammable and things like that, you know, you got to kind of use your common sense there. But yeah, find a grill that you like. I would recommend a griddle. It just keeps the flames from getting out of control, having a grease fire, things like that. You can go from a real good day to a bad day pretty quick. Trying to busy putting your name on my merch. On your merch? I want merch. I love merch. I can't even have a cooler with just food in it. You use a live well. Hang on a second. I missed part of that. Oh, I see Stan sharing links out. Let's see. Thank goodness it don't get cold here. Get all crazy dressed up. Yeah, Chesapeake, you got her made. If you don't have to do all that. Catfish and Crappie made a special rig last year, and I'm making hot dogs in my bed here. Oh, I went too far, I think. Let's see. I thought I saw something from D there, and I wanted to make sure. Oh, she's talking JP3. I can't even have a cooler with just food in it. Got to put it as a live well. Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the trick. I don't know if anybody's crossed your mind, or maybe you already know this, maybe you don't. But if you have to start using a cooler for bait and use that as live well or just for bait in general, if you decide that's going to be your bait cooler or whatever, keep it your bait cooler and don't wash that thing. Plastic, believe it or not, is a porous material, and it will hold certain chemicals. I can tell you a story from this week. I decided to help, do some dishes in Alabama, and I washed Zach Murray's favorite coffee cup, and it is from the Marines, and it was plastic, and I washed it with soap, and he said, "Don't ever wash that with soap. It takes forever to get that soap taste out of the plastic." And so keep that in mind when you're putting your bait in plastic, is that if you bleach it later, because you don't want it to be nasty, and you go back and forth on whether you're going to use it as a cooler or use it for bait, you ruin the coffee cup. I know. Shut up. It'll go back to normal eventually. But keep that in mind when you're putting bait in your cooler, that it could absorb, depending on if you got it bagged or if it's not bagged, depending on how you're putting it in there. But if that cooler's been cleaned and used for other things, that can, get on your bait and contaminate your bait. And whether it has a huge effect or not, some guys, and I'm included, I try to do everything. I don't wash my cutting board with any chemicals. It gets sprayed off the best it can with water, and that's it. I might scrub it with a clean brush. But I don't use any chemicals on anything that I'm going to use on my fish. Cutting board, cooler, even the knife, nothing gets chemicals. Let's see. Our cooler always has bait and drinks in it. Hey, at least you got, you can put them together. It don't hurt anything. Now that Dad's down south for the winter, I focus on making YouTube videos again. I still have the final video for the boat build to put together. Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. Dad's down there on the slab crappie for sure. That'd be a fun trip as well. But looking forward to it, man. We'll get your link put together here and share it out. One of the things we really like to do, if you kind of catch it going on here in the chat here, at the moment, I see Stan Smith doing it. I know others have. We really like to share everyone's links and help promote viewers and subscribers to check new stuff out. You never know when you're going to find your new favorite channel. So we'll get you. Marines have two things that heal and fix everything: water and Motrin. I believe that. Zach Murray's very patriotic man, and he's done a lot for our country. I won't put his business out there, but he's a tough son of a gun, and my hats off to all you guys, men and women in the services. No matter what you did or what you didn't do or what you think you didn't do. I run into people all the time who say, I was just in the kitchen, or I was just a mechanic. Man, every single person has a role to play, and it all works together to make it work. And our military can't just be a bunch of guys with guns. You know, I mean, you got to feed them, you got to take care of them, you got to get there. It takes logistics, takes all of it. So hats off for all everybody that has. What do you say? Somebody said a full mag. Buckeye Jim. No, thank you guys so much. I know, you know, holidays come and go, and it seems like a great time to thank everyone, but we should really be thanking them, each and every one of our armed, our servicemen and women every day. It's unreal the sacrifices some have had to give, and man, if you can't do anything else, just sit down and let one talk to you and tell you a story or two. It's something else. And but if you get a chance, I see Lyle in here just now. You know, Fishing for Freedom is an event. The closest one, you know, for me is Quincy, Illinois, and I love going out there. You know, I've been out there I think 3 years now. I'll go as long as I can. As long as I'm physically able to make it there, I'm going to go there until I can't no more. And so what those guys, the organization they do for those folks, you know, military servicemen and women, they pair them up with a fisherman or a boater. They send them out. I mean, they put them in a hotel. They feed them for the weekend. They have a beautiful banquet and ceremony. You know, Lyle was the guest speaker last year, and Lyle, hats off to you, brother. You did a fantastic job. I know it wasn't easy. I couldn't have done it any better. And the fact that it touched you as much as it did means we picked the right guy. Because if somebody else, you know, could stand up there and not bat an eye and have that speech, they weren't the right person for it. So, I won't go on about that, but Fishing for Freedom is a fantastic organization. If you ever get a chance to check it out, check it out. It is a fantastic thing that they do. 1 Ton Fishing Club, thanks for stopping in. Thanks. He says, thank everyone who has served or is serving. We couldn't do what we do without you. And that's just the way things are. You know, my wife's trying to tell me something. I don't know if she's trying to tell me to shut up or what. You're going on too long. Lyle says practice for 6 months and still fell apart. Buddy, that's, you know, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it any better. And I don't know very many people that could. And if they could have done it better, there's always next year. You know, that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, sorry, I kind of lost track of things. I see JP3 kind of going through and sharing links out. 1 Ton Fishing Club, Stan's showing love there on their channel as well. Did a great job the other week. They got their shot in the spotlight, so it was awesome seeing you guys out there. Like I said, I'm pretty behind on keeping up on everyone's channels. I got a lot to do and a lot to keep up on. But we are running about an hour and a half here, so maybe that was my signal to, hey, wrap it up. You're starting to ramble, because I could do that for hours. I'll have to jump in one of you guys' 5-hour long chats and see how well that goes. Because at this point, I'm kind of talking to myself. Well, physically, I love the interaction. So we'll wrap things up there. I have another fantastic guest scheduled to come on. I won't put him on blast yet, just in case things change. But another great speaker, lots of knowledge. You know, he's right up there with the Mark Blauvelt level of presentation that he's able to provide. And he's already agreed to come on the show, and we're just trying to lock down a date. So hopefully I can get that put together for you guys soon. And then, sorry, I was seeing. Thanks everybody for being here. I see a good show coming in, guys. If you don't mind, please hop over and hit the thumbs up for me, and share the link out on the channel if you could. And until next time, stay safe, keep chasing your dreams. We'll see you next time.